I'm John Skinner, and this supports my book Fishing for Summer Flounder, Fluke Jigging from Shore, Boat, and Kayak, and you can learn more about the book at flounderbook.com. In this video, I'm using a 3/4 ounce S&S John Skinner Fluke bucktail. 1 foot above that is a Tsunami Glass Minnow, and they're both tipped with 4-inch Berkley Gulp Alive swimming mullets. Okay, so I'm heading out on some familiar waters for fluke fishing, also called summer flounder. I've been out for about 40 minutes or so, and I've got a lot of fish that are under the legal limit, which is 19 inches, and they're not off by much, but they're short. Okay, so I've got 2 units on the console. I have my older unit, and I've got one that's got a Navionics chip in there, so I think you can actually see maybe a little bit of detail there, certainly the depth. And what I'm doing is I'm cruising in on a little bit of a drop-off, and I want to get off on just the other side, even if it's 3-4 feet, that makes a difference, and then drift back over that rise. And we'll say more about finding fish as we go through this. So the primary bait here is sand eels. There's a lot of sand eels in the water, and that's holding the fluke over these sand shoals. Boy, and you're going to get to see, if you watch this video all the way through, you're going to feel that the bottom is just paved with fish. You see there, there was another fish following that one up, and that's 16, 17 feet of water. That fish came up all the way from the bottom following up that one. The action is very fast-paced, and sometimes the best strategy trying to get that limit of fish is to just keep plowing through these shorts. And the way I feel is that if the fish that I'm getting are within an inch of the legal limit, then I'm really close, and I'm not going to move around too much. I'm not going to go move a mile away or something. I'm going to keep making moves, trying to find those little veins of larger fish, but I'm not going to, just abandon the area. So these drift conditions are basically horrible. I've got a slight wind against current, which is leaving me with a drift speed of only like 0.4, 0.5 miles an hour, so that's very, very slow. Fortunately, this fishing technique, if you're using bucktails or jigs, rapid vertical jigging, you're still going to be in the game, and actually, you'll see, you can catch a lot of fish. If you were trying to drag bait through here, it just wouldn't be a very effective presentation, and you'd certainly be attracting crabs, but you're going to see here this is going to work out quite well. So I mentioned the drift speed. Normally, I'd like to see 1.2 miles an hour. That's pretty much a prime drift speed. Once you start getting below 0.7 or so, that's quite slow, and right now hardly moving at all. Finally. Yes, I'm sure you heard that comment, finally, there. I've gone through a lot of shorts to get to this one, but we'll get more. Okay, so the bucktail is a 3/4 ounce S&S. It's actually called the John Skinner Fluke bucktail. They've been making bucktails for me for a few years, and to my specifications, and I'm really picky about a few things, and one of them is the hook. So these use Gamakatsu 604 hooks, and those are my favorite, and they're just the right size for this kind of fishing. They really tie these bucktails with the correct hair density. They're very well tied. You can catch a lot of fish before they wear out. The only place, oh, there we go, a sea robin. Hey, we're fluke fishing. You got to catch a couple of these. The only place that I'm aware of at the moment carrying this bucktail, because they just came out, is J&H Tackle, Oakdale, Long Island, both online and in the store. Yeah, sea robins. Fortunately, I caught very few this trip. If you're into them heavy, the only suggestion that I can give is to move. There's just no winning when there's a lot of these things in the water. They're very aggressive. All right, something I want to address in this video is left-handed versus right-handed reel. You see where my left hand is above the reel? That's where I want it. That's where I'm comfortable for fighting a fish. And then I'm cranking with my right hand. So this is laid out exactly how I want it. I want to be jigging with my right hand. I'm right-handed. the comment I get is, why don't you use a left-handed retrieve reel? And the reason is, if I'm cranking with my left hand, then I need to hold the rod basically a little bit below the reel, and I don't feel like you get leverage and power that way. I'm not comfortable doing it, so I do what I do. So when you measure these things, it's very important to keep the mouth closed. If that mouth gets open a little bit, it's going to add some length, and that can be expensive if a DEC officer checks you. Okay, now I'm going to run a pretty long stretch of unedited video, no piecing together, and this will give you a real good feel for the pace of the action. And if you're a regular viewer, you'll have noticed that I've got a new boat. Well, it's not new. It's a 1974, and but boy, it's a center console. It's deeper and wider than my other one, and it's got a really nice outboard on there. It's got a fairly new Evinrude E-Tech, so it's nice and quiet and doesn't burn much gas, and I'm real happy about that. So yeah, it's the first trip out in the new rig, and I really like it. So spacious compared to my other one. Now the reason I have two GPS units, GPS/fish finder units on my console, is that going into this season, I got a new Humminbird. It's a Helix 5. My other one was it's a 383C Humminbird, and it's kind of old, and geez, it's not going to last forever. So what I've done is, you don't need a transducer to run that thing on the GPS, so I've mounted it on there, the old one. So I'm out over some familiar waters where my older GPS has like a zillion marks on it, and what I'm doing is basically teaching the new GPS. You saw me reach over and hit a mark there, and I did that for a couple reasons. One is I'm catching some fish here, but the other is, on my old GPS, I have a collection of marks, and I was pretty much right in the middle. So I'd like to start, getting some new marks on those spots with the new GPS. So it's kind of a reasonable thing to do. Is don't use your GPS till it dies, but get a new one, and then try to transfer over some of that knowledge from one to the other. And that older unit didn't have a facility for downloading it to something else. So yeah, this seems like the best way. And you'll see as I walk by there, I've got that fish in the bucket right there. Those are bled out, and after a few minutes, I'll just transfer those to the cooler. But they come out much nicer when I bleed them out. So time for some new Gulp here, and I'll use these things until the tails get ripped or they just get completely mangled. And you see I've got a Tsunami Glass Minnow there, and that's a teaser that works very well for this kind of fishing. And one thing I like about it, and it might seem like a minor thing, but it's really quick to unhook the fish. And when you're in a situation like this and you're literally trying to cull some keepers out of a lot of shorts, the faster you can get fish off the hook and get back in the water, the more fish you can catch, the more keepers you're going to get. It's really that simple. Yeah, the inside of the boat's a mess. I know I need to clean that out. There's some things I want to do, some rearranging, but just haven't had the time between getting the new boat and fishing going full blast. This rod is a blast. This is a Tsunami Slim Wave. It's actually it's one of the early prototypes for a Tsunami Slim Wave. So I can't even tell you what the specs are because I don't know. There's nothing written on the blank. But I know Tsunami has a line of Slim Wave rods out there, and they call it a Slim Wave because it's a thin, light blank. It's got a lot of power, so this thing weighs nothing. It's a very comfortable rod to fish. And this one is only it's like a 6-footer. It's just a lot of fun with these fish. And as always, when I'm fluke fishing, the reel is a Quantum Accurist. Alright, and the main line is 15-pound test spider wire ultracast, and the leader is 20-pound test fluorocarbon. And the bucktail's on the bottom with a surgeon's loop, 1 foot above that, the teaser's on a dropper loop. And one of the more popular videos on my channel is the rigging video that shows exactly how to tie that rig. So you might notice when I'm fishing, I look over at the fish finder quite a bit. And I'm not looking for fish. I mean, the fluke aren't going to show up on the fish finder. The two things I'm looking at are depth and drift speed. And I'm looking at that drift speed a lot. That tells me a lot about the current and the interplay between the current and the wind. And I'm always shocked to have conversations with relatively experienced fluke or summer flounder fishermen, and they have no clue as to what a normal drift speed is when they're fishing, and it's something that I think is just really important, and sometimes will dictate where I fish. You know, if it's really fast, up around 2 knots or so, I might make a move in order to knock that speed down a little bit, and if it's really slow, if it's 0.2, I'm not moving. I'm going to make a move to try and change that. And sometimes moving in or out can have a pretty substantial impact on the drift speed. So that's one of the reasons I'm looking over at the GPS quite a bit. Alright, I'm going to mostly stay quiet from this point on, just do a little bit of spotty narration, but let me tell you how this is going to play out. We're going to keep catching a lot of fish here, and we're going to get a couple more keepers. But I haven't really been out very long, so it's going to get to the point where it doesn't seem to make sense to just stay here and keep doing this once I can't keep any more fish. So what I decided to do was make a 10-mile run. Part of it was I wanted to test run the new boat and see how that feels. And the other thing is, as I've mentioned in my previous videos, I've recently moved, so I wanted to run 10 miles back toward where I live now, because it will be someplace that it's going to be easier, quicker for me to get to fish, but it's someplace I've never been before, and so I want to go there and see if I can catch anything at all and learn a little bit, maybe get some marks in the GPS. But this video is already long enough, and it's going to go a fair amount longer. So at some point, a few days after this video goes up, I'm going to run a second video. It's almost going to be like I had 2 trips in one, because that other video in this other place that's 10 miles away is going to be absolutely completely different than this one. Different depth and current speed, and it's going to be a good one, though. So, all right, enjoy the rest of the video, and if you like these things, please subscribe to my channel. And like I said, I'll jump in a few times as we go along. Enjoy the fishing. Alright, now take notice that even though I'm catching, I'm going to move because it's short, 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 one after another. I'm going to go. So I feel like I missed more fish than usual on this trip. Not that it matters. We've seen on the underwater video these fish will come back over and over again. I'm wondering if I'm missing more because the drift is so slow, or maybe that in combination with the waters being kind of cool. Water temperature is only like 54 degrees, so it may have something to do with it. But again, you know what? I think I'm going to get that fish anyway. When I'm on the water, I often see people netting short fluke. I don't get it. Just swing them. It saves a lot of time. I think it's probably better on the fish not to be in the mesh and everything. You know what? It's even on this light tackle, it's not a problem to swing them. And this one's close to keeper size, but they still go over the side, no problem. Time to move again. Again, just non-stop shorts, and I'm not moving far. I'm making small adjustments, just trying to get over some better fish. Trying to keep its head in the water, but I'm not doing a very good job of it. Alright, so I've got my legal limit now, 3 fish. I'm going to make one more drift here. Basically, I was trying to decide what to do because it was so early in the morning and I didn't want to go in. And so like I mentioned earlier in the video, I decided to make that 10-mile run. But I'm going to get one more keeper here before it's done. Yeah, it was a much smarter move to go make a run and learn something about a different area. So you'll get to see that in a video posted a couple days after this one. Okay, thanks for watching.